So I just want to introduce Angela Farlam, and I'm saying that correctly, right, Angela?
That's me, but I usually get called Ange or Angie.
Ange. Okay, so we'll go with that. So, and you are, just to reiterate, you are a 16, 17-year successful hypnotherapist with your own impressive business based out of Australia. Yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. And not only are you a hypnotherapist, but you are a master practitioner in NLP. And you studied with Richard Bandler and John Grinder himself. So absolutely phenomenal. So not only is Ange a hypnotherapist and a coach and a trainer, she is just an amazing person. So I want to welcome you and thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule to join us today. Look forward to the gold nugget. So I guess my first questions, I was wanted to start off, well, actually, we were just talking about this before we started recording, but I just wanted to say that I had the privilege of attending one of your amazing group sessions for mentoring new therapists, and it was just phenomenal. And I know just off of your website, you offer more in terms of that, right?
For the new therapists?
Yeah.
I have a course that's running at the moment, which is a 4-week. It's just a low cost, like $50 for 4 weeks. That started yesterday, but I'll probably continue that as an ongoing thing. So that's just a low cost thing. So I love to share, and honestly, since being part of Freddie and Anthony's academy, they are so generous. I just wish they'd been around 16 years ago when I set out, because I'm just blown away by what they offer. It's absolutely amazing, the opportunity for everyone that's involved there. And that's, I guess it's just feeding off that. It's like, it's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. So, and if anyone wants to join your group, or how would they contact you?
It's really easy. I've got my website, but I've also got, when I did that particular group, I set up a page which is as an email, and that email is just for new therapists or new hypnotherapists. So they won't get bombarded with other emails, but they will get emails that are relevant. So like when I'm gonna do another course, or whether I've got maybe a YouTube video or a newsletter or anything that's relevant. So I click you that page on it's just a particular page on my website, which was also advertising the course that's already started, but there'll be more. So if anyone's interested.
Oh, fantastic. You'll probably get a lot of interest.
I'm interested in another course, and I can set one up, quite quickly. It's easy.
Awesome. No, that's great. That's brilliant. So we kind of mentioned before that you studied with the actual founders of NLP. So what was that like?
It was quite funny, really. It was quite funny because I did my first training in 2004 in hypnotherapy, and it was traditional hypnotherapy. It was actually quite, it was a good course when I look back, but it was really old-fashioned. There was no NLP included. They actually frowned on NLP. I didn't even know what NLP was. I had to do a 3-hour written paper on the history of hypnosis and the different hypnotists through the years, and which is great, but you don't need to know that to hypnotize somebody. But it's good. Like the beginning of this course, Anthony says that he does share that. I said, go away and study, but they don't actually include that, and they don't need to. You can do that in your own time. But this course included that, and also we had external verifiers come out and watch us do a practical exam, so it's all a bit scary. But from that course, there was a guy on the course who'd been to London, and he'd studied NLP, and he was excited because he'd actually won a holiday to South Africa. He'd come first in sales at work and put it down to this NLP. Now, that was not my motivation, but what my motivation was at the time was Paul McKenna was part of this training. Paul McKenna was a famous hypnotist in the UK at the time, and I wanted to meet him.
Yeah.
And it was an NLP practitioner course, and it was run by Paul McKenna, Richard Bandler, and Michael Neal. And I went along because I had money in the bank. We'd sold our house, and I did my practitioner and master practitioner. And the first day I met Paul McKenna, which was amazing. And I had that was why I'd gone. But then I thought I'd got involved in some sort of cult because there was a break. And then this music came on, which was Purple Haze, like Led Zeppelin. And there was a big, like, feel of excitement, people standing up and clapping. And what looked like a little old man with a Zimmer frame walked up to the stage. And he got on the stage and sat down. And then I don't know what happened to the next 2 hours, because he just told stories, and I was in a trance for 2 hours. And that was Richard Bandler.
Wow. Okay, so he as crazy as
he is crazy, but he'd had a major stroke. So I was looking to research this guy before I went on the course, and he was, according to Google, he was dead. I thought, well, this is weird because I'm going on this course and he's dead, but he'd had a major stroke. So when I met him, he was recovering from this stroke. And he tells lots of stories, so you never know quite what's true and what's not true with Richard. But he'd said that he was laid in bed and all he could move was his big toe. So he was like utilizing hypnosis and the power of the mind to get his big toe to move, and then gradually heal, so that he did heal from it. So there you go.
Wow. So he's 100% recovered?
It seems to be. It's a while ago and he's still around and he's still doing what he does.
Wow. Wow. That's interesting. And Paul McKenna, another one of the greats that, you hear about. I don't think you can't really get him. Like, is he still doing trainings or anything?
He actually moved to America for quite a while. He was in LA. Yeah. So he's back training with Richard now. I know, because they've been doing some online stuff. I've not actually had time to be involved in it, but yeah, They've been working together again. But my highlight of that training was actually being on stage I put my hand up because he wanted a volunteer, but it wasn't to be hypnotized. I didn't know what I was putting my hand up for. I just put my hand up. But I was given a microphone, and I was hypnotized doing a double induction with, we had a guy in a chair. Paul was at one side and I was at the other. And it was like, oh my God. I didn't think about what I was doing, so I wasn't nervous. It was only afterwards that I thought, wow, that was amazing.
That is fantastic. Do you have that all videotaped and everything for your records? Oh, darn.
April 2016. So
right.
2006. A long time.
Yeah. Well, what an experience. What an experience. So on your website, you mentioned that 5 years ago, you were introduced to like a new paradigm. And I was going to ask you if you could expand on what that was for you.
Probably longer than 5 years now, but
okay.
I was, at the time, I've done heaps of courses and I'm always working and sharing what I learn, but I was wanting to get more online coaching.
Okay.
And so I looked into it, and I had studied with Michael Neal, and I got in touch with Michael, and I didn't realize he sort of walked away from NLP and was teaching this new paradigm, if you want to call it. And also Jamie Smart, who was a very famous NLP trainer again in the UK.
Yeah.
I've trained with Jamie now since then, but he was also a very successful trainer in NLP, but he wouldn't mind me sharing it because he shares it all the time, that he was actually a functioning alcoholic at the time.
Okay. Wow.
Michael was a very successful NLP trainer, but he was also, I remember him saying he was publishing a book called Be Happy Now, and he was depressed. It was like, NLP is great, but it's great for managing your state, and it's great for so many things, but they still felt something was missing. And so Michael had been searching and found this new way of being, this new way of being. And then Jamie Smart went and was mentored with him for a year. And I knew all this, and this is what brought me into that space. And it's nothing new, but it's how they're sharing it as new, in that they're sharing the work of Sydney Banks Sydney Banks was a Scottish welder in the 70s who had a massive enlightenment experience and realised how we live our life from the inside out, and that thought is like the missing link. And so that is what both Michael and Jamie did. They sold their NLP businesses, and now they share this inside out nature of life. I don't really talk too much about the principles. I live them rather than, so I sort of teach them through my work.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I could, like we talk about the 3 principles of mind, consciousness, and thought. And this is, but they use that as a way of explaining something that really has no words. It's more of a realization model. So
I can totally understand that. Totally understand that. And things like that can be so profound for people.
And that's what it was for me. That's really, it was such a change in me, and that life just got easier after that. I stopped, my mum used to call me a born worrier. I used to worry and be anxious and stressed about everything. And I had that shift when I saw deeper and realized that just because a thought's there doesn't mean I have to pay attention to it.
Right. Right. It's kind of like a different level of awareness.
Yeah.
Just becoming more aware of that things that you didn't even know you could become aware of. And it's that expansion of the self.
That's right. And who we are is much more than who we think we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's brilliant. It's just kind of like the search for the deeper you, the deeper self, the self when wait a minute, it was just my imagination. I had control over this the whole time.
Creating our reality moment by the thoughts we pay attention to.
Absolutely. And just like Anthony's book, Reality is Plastic, I love that title. That was the very first book I ever opened on hypnosis, funny enough. So for me to be here, it's like, wow, little fangirl club. No, that's great. Okay, so I absolutely love that. I love that therapy, that way of looking at things. It's not just this. I mean, we've got a bunch of tools, but you really need to have that essence of helping someone find themselves in the deepest way that they can. So that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So let's get into more nitty-gritty stuff. So I asked a bunch of new hypnotherapists, soon to be new hypnotherapists, and just raring to go. They seem to be interested in, of course, the number one question, and that is, where do you find clients?
It's stop trying to find them and start just get out there and play. Like I'm going back to it again, but Anthony has shared so much in being in Australia, the timing's all wrong to attend everything, but they do the business momentum sessions. So I often listen. I'm usually on my spin bike or something and with my earphones, and I'll listen. So I can do 2 things at once. But it shares so much stuff. It's so many useful nuggets in there, and it's about serving. It's about just going out and, it's like you might be having a coffee and somebody might have back pain. So honestly, I didn't know the arrow till this year when I came across Freddie and Anthony through the Australian Hypnotherapy Association. They did a workshop, and you need to do workshops to keep up your CPD points. So I joined in the workshop, and it was like, this is amazing. Joined the academy and did the diploma because I could, not because I needed a diploma, but because I thought, well, why not? It's all included, and it's amazing. But it's like I'd never come across the arrow till then, and I use the arrow all the time now. But you can, I was at coffee and somebody was complaining about a sore shoulder, and it's like I just ran the arrow, and she was like amazed. So this is, you serve, and then they're like curious, and then it's like, oh, I think I need some sessions with you. And
okay, so it's more just about getting with the people and doing what you can, and then it's just going to come.
Yeah, well, sounds too simple, but if listen to the momentum sessions, I would say. Practice, practice, practice anytime you can. And I think to be playful and fun. It's just about, and you want, what at the end of the day, my whole intention is for people to feel better. It's not about, yeah, okay, it's a business, you want the money coming in, but it's not when it doesn't, it's serve, and that it sort of, that flow happens.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm sounding a bit too airy fairy, because you've got to have some structure there, because you've got to pay your bills and everything.
But no, I totally get that. I totally get that. Same thing with real estate. I have a website. That's all I have. I don't do any other advertising, and people just come because I know they're going to come.
Yeah.
Kind of strange.
It's amazing. It's all energy. We're all made up of energy. And if you're putting out the energy that it's hard, or you've got to, it's needy, you've got to get the sales in, it gets the opposite effect. It's like those magnets that are repelling rather than attracting. It's a metaphor about the it's not my metaphor. I got it from somewhere, and it's about mice and cheese, and they want to avoid cats and get cheese. That's it. They want to avoid cats and get cheese. But when you're trying to sell to them, it smells of cat. So they want cheese. So it's like everything that we share was telling them about. They're not interested in our qualifications and what we've got. Nobody's interested. They probably don't have a clue Richard Bandler is, or John Grinder, or the other people. Or they're not interested in what we do. They're interested in how we're going to make them feel, And that's what we want to make them feel better. And if you give them a taste of the cheese of feeling better, they're going to be wanting more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So would you feel that you get most of first time inquiry calls through your website, or where do you see more of your business coming through?
It tends to be referral. So it's I'll ask, it comes through my website, because my website used to be flashier than it is now. I've had various websites, but I wasn't really happy with it. The last one was really sort of all bells and whistles, but I didn't really feel comfortable with it. And then again, through this course, Freddie talked about Kev Webster.
Yeah.
Kev is he's got an accent a bit like mine. And I got in touch with Kevin, and he's amazing. And he did my website for me, which I did all the wording and everything. And so he set it up so it's much more simple, but it's automated. So what's happening, I'm getting more and more people just booking a discovery call. So then we hop online like this, and then I can refer them back to they've already know what to do. So we can refer them back and tell them what to book in, whether they want 3 sessions or 5 sessions. I've got coaching on there and everything, but even that is a guide. So when I'm with somebody, it's we sort of can change it so that it fits their model, or what they can afford, or whatever. It's nothing set in stone, but it really has worked well as the automated stuff. And also that it's automated so that they can book in online, and then they automatically get the Zoom link. They're directed to PayPal to pay, so I don't have to do any of that stuff. It's all automated.
Okay. And that this guy that helped you set up your website, you said his name was Kevin?
Kevin Webster is Freddie's internet guy. He's helped Freddie a lot, and it was through Freddie that mentioned him that I found it.
That you connected. Oh, that's great. No, that's great. And that's
so there is I haven't connected with Jeremy. I think it's Jeremy Singer that Anthony recommends, but I think Jeremy's he's done a lot of stuff. If you want to spend more money and do the whole thing, if you haven't already got a website, so there's a lot. It's about managing your, focusing on your strengths and managing your weaknesses. So if you're not good at something, get somebody to do it for you.
Yeah, and that was gonna be my next question, was when you first started, did you do all your own stuff?
Yeah, I've never ever had marketing I wish I had. I wish I could afford to. I've never been in that space. But I've not been my main driver. It's not been my main driver. And until recently, to be honest, it's, again, mindset. I always thought, I've been self-employed since I was 24. So I've got a lot of experience of being self-employed, but I had a limiting belief around the therapy being a full-time business. But that was a limiting belief.
Yeah.
We're full of these limiting beliefs, until we get out of our own way and realize what we're doing. And then it gets,
Exactly. Exactly. So I guess, so money's really not kind of your main thing, but are you currently like making, I mean, it sounds to me like you are very successful, and you've got, like, how many clients do you see a month, or does it vary?
Well, I work at a retreat a couple of days a week, which is a retreat that specializes in addictions. And so I go on and see 5 clients a day there for hypnosis and NLP, but that's 2 days a week. So there's 10 clients, and the rest is just made up through my clients here. So to be honest, I'm 62. I don't want 30 or 40 clients. I like to enjoy I live on the Sunshine Coast. I go out and I play and I run at most days, and I go out on my bike with my husband, and I've got 2 little poodles. So it's about lifestyle. But like today, I have got 3 clients. So I've got, this afternoon, I've got 3 clients, 2 online and 1 coming here. So I still see face-to-face clients as well.
Wow, that's fantastic. So how did you get involved with the clinic? Like, are you contracted, or how did that come about?
It's a contract. Well, I first worked with them in 2008. And that, again, it was through somebody I knew through a course I've done in hypnosis. And I used to teach back then. I got a job teaching coaches to be coaches in the particular model that they teach. But then it moved from there, that the people who were running the retreat, their own retreat, and so I've been connected with them ever since. Not always worked for them, but on and off, and that's, I'm back to sort of working with them 2 days a week now, and really enjoying it. Just, it's enough to do that, and then because they are lots, of people dealing with all sorts of trauma, and it's, I really, really enjoy it. But then it's nice to come back and have somebody who's doesn't really have much of a problem. They just want to get better at something, or like be faster at running, or it's just different, it's
Yeah. No, that's great. That's absolutely great. So I had there is a question about startup costs. I don't know if you can think back to the very, very, very beginning, 16 years ago.
If I was doing that, it would go back a lot further, because I was already a therapist. I'd already studied I was a professional kinesiologist. I'd already was working as a remedial massage therapist and reflexologist. And so I've got all the therapies going. So I was already a therapist. I was trained as a psychiatric nurse before that. So it goes back further.
Wow.
So it just sort of, it already came into my work. So it started off, the actual therapy side of it was a hobby. I had a fish and chip restaurant for a lot of years on the East Coast, not that far from where Freddie lives. And then after a marriage breakup, I started utilizing what was a hobby as my work. And so again, it was always part-time. I'd have a job, but always using my therapies. So like remedial massage, but bringing everything in. So if people would come for a massage, you'd get a lot more than a massage.
Right.
But yeah, as a startup, sorry, going back to this, so it's difficult so it's always been there. So you don't need a lot. You need a lot less than you probably needed back then. Because I mean, I've had clinics. I used to have a house with a hall downstairs. That was my space. Right. But you don't need your own clinic. If you do want to do face-to-face, you can hire like rooms for half a day or whatever. It's not like with massage, where you need the oils and the bed and the towels and everything, you just need a room with a chair in it, really, to get anywhere.
True.
And now with Zoom, you don't even need that, do you? You know, but what you do need is a stable internet connection. And again, the more you do, it's the little things that you get on the site. It's the things in the Business Momentum, that group that Anthony shares. I mean, like now I've got my little setup here. I'm sat at a little desk and I've got 3 lights, and I'm no expert. I've just sort of muddled my way through, and my husband's pretty good at helping me. But I've got my computer, then I've got a TV screen, and then I've got a separate keyboard. So I've got and I've got a green screen behind me.
Oh, okay.
If I didn't have the green screen, when you move, if you want, like, where is it? The virtual backgrounds, I've got heaps of them. I love the virtual backgrounds. So, like this one.
Oh, nice. And that looks really nice, because I know on some people's Zooms, you can kind of see their outline or a weird look.
That's because they haven't got a green screen.
Gotcha.
So the green screen stabilizes everything. So it's that you can put the virtual background. If you've not got the green screen, then you keep losing your hands and bits and pieces.
Yeah, so you recommend picking that up just for that professional look.
Yeah, so little things, but yeah, a stable connection is a must. I've got an external mic that I've had my mic for years, because I've used it for creating hypnosis recordings. I use it now mainly for my Zoom calls.
Okay.
So there's not, the cost up is not that much. It's just but you don't need anything really to start with.
And maybe like a website, right? You probably definitely want to have like a way that people could connect with you.
You don't even need a website.
Wow, really? Okay.
My daughter runs a successful business in the UK. She's a it was till COVID came along. She's a wedding. She started off making flowers, artificial flowers for weddings, silk flowers. She does the whole thing now, like from beginning, like everything that you need for a wedding, she supplies. And she's won awards. She started the business in 2016, and it came about because she was just making her own flowers for her own wedding, shared them on Facebook, and people were saying you should have a business. Her whole business has been built up through Facebook.
Through Facebook. Yeah, so maybe that presence on social media is pretty important.
Social media's really made her business, yeah. But it's good to have a website or an email list or something, because you never know what might happen with Facebook. I mean, if they suddenly banned you on something, you want to have that, so pointing them back to your website is pretty good, but you don't need it that way, you don't have to have all this stuff in place. You just need to get it out there and do it. What you do need is insurance.
Yes, definitely. Good tip.
You have a qualification to be able to get covered on insurance. That's probably the main thing.
Okay.
And then it depends on what you want. What do you want, face-to-face or online? These days online, since COVID particularly, I've found it's easier. More and more people are using Zoom, so they're getting more comfortable with using Zoom.
Yeah. Are you finding your clients wanting to be on Zoom or wanting to be more face-to-face? It
depends. Again, the people who knew me before want to come and see me. It's like, oh, Ange, can I come? So it's like, it's just as good on Zoom, but they like to come. And it, to be honest, the reason I want, the biggest thing I've got from Fred, I keep going back to Freddie Anansi's course because it's just been so good. The biggest thing I've got from it is letting go of a limiting belief about being able to hypnotize people online. So I was already coaching online and getting amazing results, but I wasn't really utilizing hypnosis online. And that has been a massive shift. It's like, why have I not done this before?
Out of your comfort zone, because you were originally, a hands-on therapist. I think Anthony had mentioned something about that, where it's quite a shift going from face to face to online, and we're kind of the lucky crop because we're all starting online, so we don't know much different. In fact, being face to face might be a little weird for us.
Just adapting different things. Like a lot of NLP is, there's a lot of stuff, particularly if I was teaching NLP, you need that person in front of you because there's a lot going on. But you can adapt stuff. Like on that, the one that you listened to, I would think was the one I was doing, the anchoring in the fingers, where we're doing the Santa Claus pattern. Do you remember that?
I do. Yes.
Yeah. That I utilize usually on the floor, especially with my clients stood up. So I just adapted it to use it in the fingers. So it's just adapting. It's just as good.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And that worked wonders for me. That's why I was like, Angela, I love you.
Again, that's about being playful and just giving things a go, you know, like it's not always about, it's about letting go of, well, for me personally, it's letting go of wanting to be perfect. And that's, anxiety is all about wanting to be perfect, and there's no room for error. But when we like that, there's no room for learning, and it's through getting it wrong or making mistakes that we grow. So
absolutely. So you recommend just people go out after they get their certification, just go out maybe on the street, or
if you're going to do that, have a business card. You know, people are saying, oh, you don't need business cards so much, but if you've got a simple business card, like Vistaprint you can do them really cheaply. Just have that card. I mean, when you're out there and it presents itself, somebody's got a back pain or an arm pain or something, and you do something and they feel better, you just give them your card.
Yeah, referrals are the best.
Yeah,
absolutely. I just wonder, what would be the venue like, say for me personally, to, okay, I've got my website up, and then crickets, there's like no clients, and just, so you're just kind of saying, go out there and just take someone's pain away or do something and just start building that word of mouth referral business.
So when I did Jamie Smart's course, I trained to be a clarity coach. So I'm a clarity certified coach, and Anthony points to this a lot now, and that we would, rather than charging by the hour, we talk about charging by value. So that as well as that, the other thing that used to get in my way was niching. There's all, I've been there, done that, everything about the branding and I've been to the branding and where you're wearing the same color and everything matches and your colors match, and you don't need all that. It's all, but it's, it's about being professional and consistent. Consistency is the key. But the other thing, one thing I got really from Jamie, which was amazing for me, was, because I used to get in my way, was the niche. Well, what's my niche? Because I've hypnotized 4-year-olds, I've hypnotized 80-year-olds, I've hypnotized men and women, and they come, I never know what's going to come next, So it's like, well, how do you niche? How do you niche that? And one thing that I got from Jamie was, think about, you've got a mansion, you've bought a mansion, and it's a really nice mansion, but it needs renovating. And you're going to renovate the whole thing, but you've got to start somewhere. So choose a room. And that room, if you think of it as everything that you do, you could be working on weight loss. Your biggies when you start out, weight loss, there's always clients.
Okay.
And smoking, there's always clients. But then it's like, what do you want to do? What's your passion? What do you, like running? I love to run. So it's like, I have so many personal stories around running, and so that's a passion for me, to help people, because 99% of running's in your head anyway. It's so what is it, your personal, what's personal to you? Like anxiety. I've specialized in anxiety because I mastered it when I was 3.
Yeah, I bet you could connect with a lot of people.
But I don't do it now. So if I don't do it, you don't need to do it. You know, it's like there's a mini me, and she twitters on all the time. But I don't take any notice anymore.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. And then did you ever, so you said that you did specialize in anxiety, or you just could very well?
I mean, like at the retreat, it's all anxiety, stress. You know, so addictions, it's all about anxiety at the end of the day. Anything that you get addicted to, it's like an adult teddy bear. It's a form of escape. It's wanting to numb yourself or get away from the thoughts in your head at the end of the day. But when you realize that, you don't need to do that. You don't need the adult teddy bear.
Right. When you realize you can control those thoughts, I think that's a big part of your awareness, because a lot of people feel like, oh, these thoughts are happening to me, making me a victim, where once you can open up their idea that, well, you do have control, and I'm going to show you how you have control, and it's just mind-blowing.
It is, and it's like taking control of your mind rather than it controlling you.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's great. So, Angela, what was your biggest challenge with starting your business, maintaining, growing your business?
Biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Getting out of my own way. It's not about me. It's not about me. And so when it's not about me, I'm just free to be present and listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is. The only thing that gets in the way is what's going on between our ears.
Right. That's true. That's very true. So where did you learn how to start your own business back in the day? Did you read books, or did you have help?
No. It was different back then. So I was with my first husband, and I had my first baby. I got married at 20. I had my first baby at 23. And when I'd been working at an estate agency before I went into nursing, and the guy I worked for, I still helped him out a little bit, and he said we should have our own business. My ex had left he was in IT, he was a computer operator, and he'd gone to work for his parents in their news agency, and he wasn't really gelling very well with his parents. And the guy I'd worked for had found a business in Ilkley, and he says, it's a cracking little business, you should buy it. And we did. We bought this little, oh God, it was a little grocer's shop, and it cost us we sold our house and bought it, and then we sold that, and then bought another business, and then ran that for a while, and then sold that, and then bought a fish and chip restaurant. And so that's what we did. We did not have business plans. It just happened, we just went with the flow, and we're not afraid to do it, I guess.
That's the key, is don't be afraid to take that risk on buying that first business.
Yeah. It's so funny now looking back, and with the businesses and the business plans, and you do this and you do that, and I think, well, I didn't do any of it. We just went with the flow,
Wow. That's awesome. That's really awesome.
It might not be helpful though when you
it's like, everybody just go with the flow. What does that mean? No.
Michael Neal is another, I love Michael to bits, and he says, one thing he says is, if it feels good, why wouldn't I? If it doesn't feel good, why would I?
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, so now that you're so busy, how do you ever struggle with balancing therapy hours versus business or marketing hours, or is it all pretty balanced for you?
I think I'm pretty cool now, pretty balanced, but I think it's very I think the thing with therapists is we're already good at therapy and we're crap at marketing and selling ourselves. And so, yeah, the selling themselves can get in the way. So when you stop selling and think about serving and sharing, it's like reframing in your mind. It's like, you still want, the business. And yeah, I've done so many business courses, and I know, it's like it is, but at the end of the day, it's anything that you do consistently. And there's things like, if you are going to focus on Instagram or Facebook, choose one or two platforms, and then aim to do something consistently, whether it's and again, it's growing and changing all the time. So video and Facebook Lives now seem to be more the way to go, because if you can see somebody, you can connect more. It's all about connection.
Yeah.
So I set myself a challenge. If you ever look back, I've got a YouTube challenge, which is quite funny. And 2012, I did my first video, and it's all there. It's all still there. And then I set myself the challenge of doing a video every day for 30 days with the intention of sharing hints and tips, NLP, hypnosis stuff, to get out of my own way, to just do it. And I've got the wonky glasses, and some of it's a bit dodgy, but it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
And then I did with Kara's on the Kara. She was, I don't think she'd mind me sharing, she was a client of mine, and she was looking for a new direction, and I pointed her in the direction of the course, and she's loving it. But so she came here, and she was happy to do, I recorded the session with her, and then I put it on my YouTube channel, and I got 1.4K hits from that video. And I was like, oh man, gosh. And because the others used to get, I don't know, I might get 75 people looking or something. So I don't know what happened. It was like, but I think it was because it was a session. People could see this is what goes. I mean, it was just a basic, session. And I included the stuff that we've been learning. I can't remember what's in it now. It might be some timeline, might have the time machine in and an arrow in it. But it was literally from beginning to end. And then it was funny at the end, because my husband was looking after her baby who started. My husband's knocking on the door because the baby's crying. But I just put it up there, and it got so many hits. And I think again, if you're sharing on YouTube, what are people looking for? So it's like, if people don't know what hypnosis is, which a lot are scared of because of the, it's I'm in control of your mind sort of thing. And then they can see. So even if it doesn't have to be a whole session, but snippets of sessions, I think that's a useful thing to do.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great tip. That is a great tip. I see a lot of things moving that direction, but now I'm worried I'm going to have to learn how to be a videographer and learn how to edit and clip. And, did you have any trouble doing any of that, or was it just pretty easy?
Again, it's all self-taught. It's all been self-taught. And that's why it's so funny looking back at some of them. I've just got to put my iPhone on a tripod and talk to it. The hardest one that I found was, my son lives in Thailand, and he's a writer over there, but he's got a YouTube channel called Bangkok Explorer. So he's very much as a hobby into doing video. And a couple of years ago, I was over there, and I wanted to he used to work for a magazine, and I've had a few articles printed in his magazine, but then he moved away from the mag. But he did, I wanted to get a video out for expats, for the issues and problems expats have living in a new country, because I'm from Yorkshire and I'm in Australia, and my son's in Thailand, and there's a massive expat community in Bangkok. Yeah. And my biggest challenge was, he was videoing me, and I think it's because it was my son videoing me. I couldn't stop laughing. It was like I couldn't every time I was like, I just can't do this. And yet I can sit in front of a screen by myself and just chatter away. But it's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. Do you have a really good connection with your son, like a really fun relationship with him? Or was it just kind of like, I don't want him here watching me do this?
No, we get on really, really well. We're very in tune. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
And it is beautiful that if you've got family that you can. My daughter's in the UK, and we're connected. Well, we connect all the time, but I'm connecting and hypnotizing her at the moment to lose weight, and she's lost a stone so far, and she's so focused and loving. I think it's the mum time as well. She's got 2 kids, but she goes in a room and it's just me and her, which is really special. Yeah.
Wow, that's so great. My kids I approach them and say, hey, would you like to be hypnotized? No, not by you. Not by you.
How old are they?
22, almost 20, and then a 10-year-old. So
Oh,
but you know what? I found that they're willing to experience hypnosis as long as it's not mom. And I get that. I totally get that. There's probably some things that that they just don't want mom involved with.
might be frightened to let out the deepest, darkest secrets, and mum will know.
Right. That could be for sure.
My husband goes around he says, he tells everybody he goes around with a tin foil helmet on to keep me out of his house.
Nice. Oh, so do you ever find there's a lot of any like corporate interest going on, or is it still pretty much just individuals seeking help?
It's interesting, that question, because my husband has always been in the corporate world.
Mm.
And I think there's a strong need for it in the corporate world, but they are getting better with the whole mindfulness sort of thing now. They are getting better. But as to how much I think it's great if they will pay for it. It's a way to make money, because it's the corporate world. They've got the finances, they've got the money. So if you can get into that and that's your thing, that stress and anxiety, definitely. Again, that was one area that I always sort of avoided, because it's like my husband and I, we're like chalk and cheese. His corporate world, I'm like Angie's world, and it's like he speaks a different language.
Yeah.
But then I realized that again, that was just a limiting belief. And it's like at the end of the day, we're all the same. It doesn't matter whether who it is. Everybody's going through the same stuff. We're all human beings. We're all spiritual beings having a human experience.
Right.
So if you want the corporate world, they need it. They really need it.
Yeah.
I once went as a remedial massage therapist into a corporate environment. I guess a corporate environment. It was an insurance place, and to go around and just do like 5-minute massages at desks. It was quite a surprise and a shock to me, because I've never worked in that environment. Some people loved it. Some people just like closed their eyes and just, oh, this is just heaven. But some people continued working, and I thought, that's so scary. 5 minutes out of your day. That is just so scary. Oh. So they worry me. I think, well, they're going to need help. They're going to need help, because there's no balance there.
Yeah, and isn't it proven that if corporations, turn down the stress level in their employees' life, that they're going to get more production? So it's almost like having someone with your kind of skills come in to a corporate environment just to, do like a group relaxation session or something. It would be beneficial monetarily, as well as helping their employees just be in a more positive space in that environment.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I guess it's how you frame it. And there'll be some companies that will really be ready for taking it on board. Like there are some companies that will do that.
Yeah. But especially now, I think everything's kind of switching that direction, where we're getting back more, individual centric.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So much out there, and the world is changing, and especially with COVID now, there's so much.
Oh yeah,
we need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what would be the number one best advice that you would want to leave all of us with, for all of us new hypnotherapists out there?
To just have fun. Life was never meant to be so serious.
That's good.
Honestly, I got that way back with Richard Bandler. Richard Bandler said, if you can keep your sense of humor, you can get through almost anything in life.
Yeah.
And tell me, I've been through lots of challenges and I'm still here and I'm still smiling. And it's life was never meant to be so serious.
Yeah.
And that's not dissing the challenges and the problems and the issues and everything that goes on. But, it just doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be, we all go through it. It's about feeling everything, let it in, be sad sometimes, My brother died 4 years ago and I was sad. It was horrible. But you know what? There was such special moments in there. I was with my brother when he died. And I also stayed an extra week and I was with my family and we bonded and we laughed and we cried. And when I left my sister-in-law, thankfully she knows me well, because I hugged her and I said, I wouldn't have missed this for the world. And we both laughed because it was so sad. But we had each other and we were sharing, and we're all going to die. We can either get stuck in it and be a victim, or we can be what we truly are. It's just we're all resilient survivors, life is like this,
Absolutely.
It's about being graceful in the lows and grateful for the highs,
I like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Have fun, go out and just I just have fun with it.
Great advice. Great advice. So Angela, if anyone wants to reach you, your website is just your name, angelafarlam.com.
Yep. And there is, there's a free discovery call. If anyone wants to anything that they want to have a chat about, I'm always here to have a chat. Even, it doesn't mean they've got to go on and book sessions and things like that. It's just, it's great. It's great. It's fantastic that we can do that and I'm just so stoked that I get to chat to people all over the world.
Yeah. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Well, that is great. That is great. Well, I just gotta say,
the only thing we have to figure out is the time zones.
I know. It's when the day switches. That's where it gets me, because I'm just like, if it's Tuesday here, wait, what? No, it has to be Wednesday. Yeah, gets me all confused.
I've got a client in Mexico, and she's 10 o'clock in the morning, tends to work really well. I was thinking you were in the UK. That's when I said the 5 p.m. and then you said it's midnight. Oh my God.
I'm like, that's okay. I will be there. I was totally gonna drink coffee, stay up.
No, that's funny. No, it's so lovely to meet you, Nicole. Absolutely. And yeah, I'm happy to chat anytime,
Oh, thank you.
Great.
No, that's fantastic. And I've loved meeting you as well. You are just a beautiful human being. And I just wish you all the best and all the success. And yeah, I'm definitely going to poke on your website and get a free session or a free.
Do it. Okay. We can continue the conversation.
Right. Exactly. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. And I will look forward to seeing you throughout that year. Are you cohort 4? No, 2. 3. I was wrong on both. So yeah, so I guess I'll be seeing you around the JHA as well. So
you definitely will, and I'll probably join the next one, because it's just that was the other thing before I leave, is like, people have asked me throughout the course, why are you doing this? And it's like, you never stop learning, ever. And just because you've done something doesn't mean you know everything.
Sure.
And you go back and you do it again, and you pick up more, you learn more. There's always more.
Oh, absolutely.
So you stop growing, you stop learning. To keep,
absolutely. Well, Thank you so much, Angela. I won't keep any more of your time. I know that
Thank
you
you.
are a busy gal, so thank you again.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.